Hello and welcome to Theology Thursday. I'm glad you found us. If I say the word trumpet, what do you think of? Well, you probably think of something like this. This is my Getson Doc Severinsen trumpet. There are several significant elements to this, about four primary elements to it. One is, of course, the mouthpiece. And there are a variety of mouthpieces that you can use. Most people use a Bach, like a 7C or a 5C mouthpiece, and I actually like the Getson that came with this. Then we have the tube, is what most people think of, that the air flows through and out, and then through the bell. And that's where the sound comes out. So they start with the mouthpiece and end with the bell, so to speak. And then we have slides, and so these are tuning slides. This is the primary tuning slide. Right here, so we can move it in and out to slide, and then there's another one down here on the third valve, and then there's another one on the first valve, and there's one on the second valve. Usually these, unless there's a big dent that's changed the tone, these remain in. Sometimes you can push the third valve slide out while you're playing if you want, but this is the main one. This is the one that's used to tune the trumpet, and so out is flat and in is sharp, and so I just moved it, so I knocked it a little bit out of tune. So mouthpiece, the main tube, and the bell, the valves, and you can see the length of the valves affects the pitch, so to speak, that comes out of each one of them. And then we have the valves. We have three of them, and so if you're just going to go with the basic scale, they go like this. And so this is what we think of with the trumpet. Pretty cool. And the Bible uses the word trumpet a lot. This never occurs anywhere in the Bible. This is a much more modern invention that we have, which is really cool because you can play lots and lots and lots of notes on it, and lots of music, lots of songs, and so it is a musical instrument. In the Bible, there are two types of horns, but for the most part, only one. So there is one type which is also silver, like this. This is actually brass, and it's covered with silver, and some of them are again covered with gold, but classic is silver, but it is made out of brass. But in the Bible, they would have silver trumpets, and it was just a long tube, so that didn't curl anywhere, no valves or anything, and you would just use your mouth to create different sounds from it. And this is referenced in Numbers chapter 10, where they had two silver trumpets, and they would blow them to assemble the people. They would blow them to start the festivals. They would blow them to warn of incoming enemies, so they had a few purposes like that. But they were very special ones, and these are probably the ones that are mentioned in the New Testament when it talks about at the last trumpet, because in Numbers 10, trumpets were designed to assemble the people. At the last trumpet, will be assembled together to be with Christ forevermore. But the more common word that's used almost about everywhere else in the Old Testament is the Hebrew word shofar, and it looks like this. So this is actually a kosher, which means it has to do with the way that the animal dies. So it has to be ritually executed for it to be a kosher, and this one comes from Yemen. So this is a kosher Yemeni shofar, and this is a ram's horn. Normally we think of a ram because we use the word ram primarily like for a mountain goat or something, and it's curly. But this would be any male animal would be a ram. And so normally these would come from some type of antelope or something with longer horns. They're hollow. A lot of them they would sometimes polish them or put gold inlays and stuff. You can buy them that way now. I wanted one that looked just a little more raw and rough. It has been polished up on the end. This is not a musical instrument. So this instead is primarily used to call to war. It's a battle kind of deal. So in Joshua 6, the Battle of Jericho, where they walk around the walls of Jericho, shofar is what they would blow. And that some translations actually have it as the ram's trumpet or something like that. Like say it's a shofar, and they would blow it. They would blow it to start certain festivals and things. You cannot legally take one of these to the Western Wall in Jerusalem, because too many problems with people trying to blow a shofar to do something and create problems. So the only time it's allowed is when it is certified for a rabbi on certain events to blow the shofar at the Western Wall. And typically there are certain days where they do bar mitzvahs and they blow it, and holidays, none of that, they don't blow it. But in the Old Testament, this is primarily what they would use. What's interesting is that Psalm 150, where it gives us a list of 9 musical instruments, technically 8 because one of them is the dance, so I guess the best musical instrument is our own body. But he used the word shofar. So it uses it like a musical instrument, which is very interesting because there's really nothing musical about this. So here's a kind of a modern way to think about it. If I use the word horn, I can mean one of these. It's a musical instrument. It's a horn. And if you're in a band or an orchestra, a lot of times they'll call out the horns, meaning the brass section. So this is a horn. It's a trumpet is a type of horn. This is more like what's in your car when you want to get the attention of the driver in front of you. I don't think we would call that a musical instrument. So in the Old Testament, this is much more, the car horn is much more like what they would use rather than what we think of as a trumpet, which is a musical instrument. So with that kind of background and understanding the way then that would use, they're used, how would they use it? Well, to warn, like if the guards are on duty and they saw enemies coming, they could blow the horn to announce, hey, look, we need to man the walls because there's an enemy coming. When they would launch off for battle, as we saw in Joshua 6, so they would play the shofar. But there's something really interesting about something like this. When you have something that makes a harsh kind of sound, it can create fear in the enemy and courage in the saints. And so when they would blow it, it was to create fear. You can imagine you're inside of Jericho and you're watching the people walk around silently, and suddenly there's a blast of a bunch of these horns in unison, how that would rattle you psychologically. And so that was, the ram's horn was, it encourages us, but it strikes fear in the enemy. And the reality is the other horn, kind of like that. I mean, we look forward to the day that Jesus comes again. And that last horn sounds, and it will be encouraging to us and bring despair to his enemies. But the primary word for trumpet when you read in the Old Testament is the shofar, the ram's horn. And it was not really a musical instrument. It was a battle horn, a loud kind of sound to strike fear in the enemy and bring courage to God's people. So just thought maybe I'd help you out a little bit as you read about the horns in the Old Testament, the trumpets, and to also think about how we're looking forward to not the last shofar to be blasted, but the silver horns that were designed to call and assemble the people. And I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to that day when we hear that trumpet blast and we're assembled with Jesus and go be with him in heaven forevermore. So hope this was kind of just cool, something to learn, and will help you as you're reading the Old Testament in particular about the horn, when you see the word trumpet or ram's horn. So God bless you. Have a great day.